Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. Bringing you guys another episode of our Pokemon Road to Masterball Tier ranked series here in VGC, where I climbed the online VGC ladder and tried to not be bad. If you guys haven't seen the last episode, you can check it out in the description below. But of course, I'm here with the Twitch homies, over 3,000 people watching live, and you can watch it live on twitch.tv/aDrive. But in the meantime, hit that like button down below and subscribe if you guys are new if you're watching on YouTube. The team is the same, but I'm going to switch up the team for the next episode, so get excited for that. Still going to be Trick Room. Big differences, though. I'm going to make some changes. But we have the beautiful, shiny HATTERENE now. I trained it up. I bred it. I got the bottle caps. It's beautiful, and it's most certainly going to help us on our journey to get more wins today. So that is the one big change there, is the shiny HATTERENE. So let's get connected. Without further ado, let's jump into some battles. We did actually lose our last battle, so we're sitting at a very powerful 9-1 so far. And if you actually watch that battle, I lost because, one, I made a really bad play, but then I lost because I missed 2 hammer arms in a row. I missed 2 90% accurate moves in a row. Big struggle. Big struggle, but it's okay. It is what it is, man. Sometimes you're gonna lose some games. It's a matter of learning from them, and I learned that I shouldn't miss 2 hammer arms in a row. So we're gonna hop right into ranked. Not even gonna warm up today. We're just gonna go into it feeling spicy. I'm sitting at a nice 9-1, as I had mentioned, which isn't too shabby at all. All right, and let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm excited to get some battles in. So using team 2 here, and let's see if we can get some more W's, man. So we can get some more W's. Let's pick a song too. I love the music options. Let's go to Marnie. Marnie's got a pretty boppin' song. All right, what does he got? Whimsicott, Indeedee, Obstagoon, Dragapult, Corvisquire, Cinderace. This is very Trick Room. This is very Trick Roomy. I really like Trick Room in this one. I also like, I actually really like Torkoal Vileplume too. But I think Trick Room is the safer bet. So we're gonna Trick Room. But Torkoal Vileplume's pretty good too. Torkoal for sure. And who do I want? Mimikyu? Mimikyu looks really good. Mimikyu looks so good in this match too. I think we're gonna go Mimikyu instead of Conk, because I don't really think Conk is gonna be super good. Although Conkeldurr does help us against the Obstagoon, I think Mimikyu is probably the better bet. So let's go Mimikyu here. And let's give that a shot. I think we could have gone a couple different ways with this matchup. I do think Vileplume Torkoal would have been really strong, depending on the lead. But I think I'm gonna go. Oh, it's Corviknight, not Squire. You know what I mean. I think we're gonna do all right though. I think Mimikyu in the back could be really strong with Play Rough for Obstagoon and Shadow Sneak for Dragapult and Shadow Sneak for Indeedee. Although we have to be very mindful of Psychic Terrain. And it could also be really good to have the priority if the Whimsicott is Focus Sash. So we've got a couple different options there to consider. At the moment, you can't use Gigantamax Snorlax. It's not allowed on the ladder, but it will be eventually. So to answer your question, Sog, because I definitely want to try using Gmax Snorlax at some point. But again, it's not available on the ladder yet. So, all right, let's see what my opponent's going to lead here. My strategy is get Trick Room up right away and do some big damage there. Oh, Indeedee's normal type? Well, then forget that. I forgot. Can't Shadow Sneak it. Either way, Psychic Terrain is going to stop me from doing that either way. But it's all good. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what my opponent's got. Really nice jacket on, actually. And he's going to lead off with 2 Pokemon, which is going to be Obstagoon and Male Indeedee. Okay, so we have to be very mindful here because that Obstagoon could be very problematic for us. We're going to get Psychic Surge up. Their Psychic Surge goes first, so that means their Indeedee is faster, which is to be expected. And the Indeedee can't fake out or anything. I'm just going to follow me. I'm not really familiar with my opponent's strategy is here, so I'm going to follow me Trick Room. I have no idea what this Obstagoon is going to do. I would imagine it's going to Obstruct, but I don't know what this Indeedee does either. So I have no idea what to expect. This might be a learning game for us because this is a team that I am just not familiar with at all. So I have no clue what to expect right now. So, but Marnie's music is dope, and I have a shiny HATTERENE. So maybe the Sparkle is going to confuse my opponent into not attacking. I don't know. Either way, the Obstagoon can do some serious damage to my Indeedee, so I have to be very mindful there. We might see a Snarl here. We might see just a straight up knockoff into my Indeedee. Either way, as long as I can get Trick Room up and Torkoal in, we'll be in a pretty good spot. So let's see. My opponent is not going to Obstruct, I don't think. They're going to probably just double attack. Here comes the Tri-Attack from the Indeedee. So offensive Indeedee, very interesting. It's going to do a lot of damage and freeze me. And then we're going to see a knockoff go into my Indeedee as well, and Indeedee is going to go down. But I did get my my Trick Room off here, which is exactly what we wanted, so no big deal. That's totally fine with me. We get our Trick Room off, and now I can go into my Torkoal, which is able to put in a lot of work. Now, in hindsight, I'm feeling like Conkeldurr would have been nice over Mimikyu, but let's see how this match plays out. I am pretty free to just start clicking Eruptions right now, which is going to do some massive damage, and I think I'm going to Eruption plus Dazzling Gleam and not Dynamax yet. So let's go for the Eruption, and let's Dazzling Gleam, because I think Eruption plus D-Gleam will get the KO. I don't want a single target right now. I just don't see how that Indeedee lives Eruption plus D-Gleam, so I'm going to do that. I do have Mimikyu in the back for Trick Room, so Obstagoon's just going to straight up switch out and go into, what is this? The Cinderace, but Cinderace is going to take a lot of damage here. So, and my opponent is actually going to Dynamax their Indeedee? Okay, well, I did not anticipate this. This could be really bad for us. In hindsight, I maybe should have double or just straight up attacked the Indeedee, but let's see how much this Eruption does, because it might do a lot. It should do a lot. It's offensive Indeedee, so this should do a good amount. Yeah, the Indeedee is going to be able to live the Dazzling Gleam, so I might lose something here. Yeah, the Indeedee lives, and let's see what the Indeedee is going to do here. I'm gonna lose a Pokemon, I think. Max Mindstorm into Torkoal. That's going to be not good for Torkoal, and Torkoal's going to go down. So my opponent ends up getting into a pretty good positioning there because of that. So definitely unfortunate. We're going to go right into Mimikyu here, though, and I'm going to just click Swords Dance because I can pick up a double KO here with my Mimikyu, or I'm sorry, with my Hatterene. So I'm just gonna Dazzling Gleam and Swords Dance and get Mimikyu set up. So let's see what my opponent does. My opponent goes for Protect here. Pred, thanks for the 100 bits, man. I appreciate that. You can use our Discord to trade, man. All right, and this should pick up the KO on the Indeedee, and it does. Okay, so I have a +2 Mimikyu now because I'm gonna be able to Swords Dance, and Mimikyu still has its Disguise. So we're not in the worst spot. I mean, we're not in the best spot, but we're not in the worst spot. So, let's see. I know we have Obstagoon in the back. We've got a Cinderace on the field. Here comes, what is this? This is going to be a Dragapult. So, I still have Psychic Terrain, but let's see here. How do I want to play this? This is a very important turn. I've got multiple turns of Trick Room, multiple turns of Terrain. I cannot Shadow Sneak. I can, however, play Rough. So I think I can just Dazzling Gleam and play Rough the Dragapult slot and be okay. So let's do that. Let's Dazzling Gleam and play Rough the Dragapult. Here comes a Sucker Punch. And he can't actually use Sucker Punch because of Psychic Terrain. So my opponent failed to remember that. And we're going to pick up a double KO here. So all good. Very nice. Why not Dynamax? I don't want to lose the priority at this point in the match, and we don't really need to because I just knocked him out. So we're good. So now we have to figure out how we want to handle this. The Obstagoon is definitely problematic for us. I still have, what, one more turn of Trick Room? I have one more turn of Trick Room. My opponent is most likely going to try to protect themselves here. So I think we go for the Swords Dance with Mimikyu and just the max, the Dynamax max Starfall into the Obstagoon. And then the following turn, we can knock him out. Because if my opponent goes for Obstruct here, I don't want to have my Mimikyu... I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess I could have just doubled into the Obstagoon, but... I think we're going to be okay here. I mean, the situation where we lose right now is if I miss Play Rough, basically. I think. Thank you, Kenya Benavides. Thank you for the Prime as well. Worth, thank you for the Prime. What's up, guys? Dark Matter, thanks for giving out a sub to Blaze Boy. So let's see what he does here. He actually goes for the Obstruct. Okay, so that's fine. I think it's physically impossible for you to lose this point. It's actually not, though. I could miss Play Rough. Like, if my opponent knocks out my Hatterene right now, and because my Trick Room's going to end, if my opponent knocks out Hatterene and I miss Play Rough twice, then I lose. I don't know if my opponent even knocks me out in one hit, though, but I'm just going to Swords Dance again. I didn't want to take the Obstruct defense drop there, too. So, there goes our Trick Room, but I think my play is the same. It's just simply Play Rough and max Starfall. And see what my opponent's going to do. My Mimikyu might outspeed the Obstagoon. I'm max speed, but if the Obstagoon is jolly, then it's going to outspeed me because I'm adamant. the Obstagoon's adamant, then I'm gonna outspeed. So we'll find out right now. But the only way I lose is if my opponent one-shots the Hatterene and I miss play rough. Pretty rough start for us in this matchup, but we brought it back to a point where we could win this game. And that was a really good learning experience because I had not actually faced a lot of these Pokemon here. So this was kind of cool. Maybe I should have Dynamaxed my Mimikyu instead of my Hatterene, but that might have been the smarter play. That way I eliminate the potential miss. But that probably was the better play, actually, Dynamaxing Mimikyu in hindsight. So that's a thing to learn right there. I saved, he's gonna actually double obstruct, which I don't really truly understand. It's gonna fail anyway, and that's gonna seal the deal. We do hit the play rough, which is gonna definitely knock out the Obstagoon. And we're gonna pick up a nice W there, so GG's to my opponent. My opponent played really well, and that was a good example of how Trick Room can really function in competitive, where even though it looked like I was at a really bad spot, right? I got my Trick Room up first turn, but my opponent eliminated my Torkoal and my Indeedee right away, but I still managed to do really well and bring it back because I knew that if I had my Trick Room up, I was going to be able to put on a lot of offensive pressure there. So that works out really well. So let's grab another one. All right, we got Gastrodon, Gyarados, Whimsicott, Rotom, Braviary, and Excadrill. So very interesting team here. This says Trick Room all over it, I feel like. Trick Room is very, very powerful here. The Gastrodon obviously is pretty slow. What's Gastro's speed? Let me just double check. I still have time. I think it's 20, but let me just double check what Gastro's base speed is, because Gastrodon might be the slowest thing. It's 39. Okay, so we're still slower. So, let me think about this. I do really, really like Trick Room here, just to counter the Tailwind and the Excadrill and stuff like that. The drill is probably Focus Sash. I think we're gonna go Trick Room and Torkoal, because Torkoal can put in the work, and Hatterene can beat the rest. So yeah, we're gonna go Trick Room here as well, and Torkoal, and then it's just a matter of what I want last. I do like Vileplume in this one. I actually kind of like Vileplume a good amount to clean late game, and I also like Mimikyu in this one too. I think I'm gonna go Mimikyu. No, we're gonna go Vileplume. I'm gonna go Vileplume in this one. I'm gonna bring Vileplume last. Vileplume is very solid in this matchup, I think, especially if I have Sun Up. Now the Excadrill may be looking to change my weather, so we're gonna try to get rid of that early, but I think we could work with that. See what my opponent leads with. Again, my strategy here is probably Braviary Excadrill, I would imagine. Excadrill Whimsicott. So the objective here is this Excadrill is most likely carrying the Focus Sash, and the Whimsicott is likely to try to set up Trick Room. I'm sorry, Tailwind. So maybe the Whimsicott has Sash. I'm not sure. It's a little tricky to tell. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go for Trick Room, basically. I'm gonna follow me. The one thing here that kind of messes me up is if my opponent goes for Trick Room of their own with the Whimsicott, or Rock Slide flinches my Hatterene. Those are the two situations where this does not go very well. Gonzo, good luck on your Ice Cube, man. Thanks for the 100 bits, man. So, not, you know, the best situation for us, but I think we can work with it. So let's see. Excadrill probably Iron Heads into Indeedee here, because the follow me. Here comes the Iron Head. Yep, that does go into Indeedee. It's going to do a solid chunk. And here comes Trick Room. So, my opponent is very smart here in the sense that they are using Whimsicott to reverse Trick Room. So, because of that, I am not able to get my own Trick Room up because it just reverses it back. So, props to my opponent for that play. Very smart play there. I'm going to follow me, and I am going to probably just Psychic into the Whimsicott then. I need Trick Room. That's the thing. I definitely need Trick Room here. Here, you know what I'm going to do? No, I don't want to do that. Let me think about this. I'm going to follow me. And, I mean, I can Psychic the Whimsicott. Or I could Trick Room again. But if the Whimsicott continues to Trick Room... I'm going to Trick Room again. I'm going to see if the Whimsicott is going to Trick Room again here. Let's see. This is the first time I'm running into Trick Room Whimsicott, actually. Ah, they Moonblasted. Exactly what we wanted. So we are going to get our Trick Room up here, which is very nice. And I'm glad that I Trick Roomed, because it puts me in a very commanding position now. So I'm very glad that we did that. So I do get my Trick Room up. So my opponent did a great job there. By the way, we have a Shiny Bit Boss. My opponent did a great job there with the reverse Trick Room with Whimsicott. But because I was persistent there and tried to Trick Room again, we were able to counter their strategy. So now I have exactly the situation I want right now. And I'm pretty sure I can pick up a double KO here. So I'm going to go for the Eruption. And I am going to go for the Dazzling Gleam. And that's going to cover Focus Sash. I don't think my opponent lives that double hit. So let's do that. So let's see what my opponent's going to do here. They're going to switch out their Drill and go into probably Gyarados. Yep. Okay. But this is fine. I'll get the KO on the Whimsicott, and that ensures that I have Trick Room up. So the Eruption plus Dazzling Gleam will pick up the double K or the KO on the Whimsicott at the very least. It is Focus Sash Whimsicott, so that's fine. And the Dazzling Gleam here, the double spread, is going to work out in our favor. And now we know the Drill is definitely not Sash, because you can only have one of the same items. So we get rid of the Whimsicott now, so my opponent doesn't have a way to reverse our Trick Room. And their Gyarados is very weakened, and their Excadrill really isn't a threat at this point in the match. And I'm pretty free to just Eruption Dazzling Gleam again. Here comes Braviary. Now Braviary can, I think I'm gonna Eruption and Dynamax Psychic into Braviary. Is that the best play here? If I Eruption, I'm guaranteeing the KO on the Gyarados, even if it Dynamax, it's not gonna live the hit. And then the Dynamax Psychic guarantees the KO on the Braviary. So I think that's a pretty safe play there. Something's gonna get Dynamax on my opponent's side, I think. I think the Braviary is gonna Dynamax as well. So let us see. Let us see. There's the Dynamax. I'm assuming it's the Braviary. I don't see why my opponent would Dynamax like a 10% Gyarados. So I'm expecting this to be Braviary. And Braviary, I don't think, yeah. Braviary's not living the Psychic Attack plus Eruption here. It just, you know, I don't think it's gonna have a chance to live both. Because Eruption's gonna chunk it for like 50 or 60, and then the Psychic will do the rest. So my opponent's gonna protect the Gyarados, but I think Eruption plus Psychic is gonna do enough here. This is gonna do like I said, quite a bit here. Thank you, Jared, for the 5 bits. Yeah, so that's gonna chunk it for about, oh, the berry, the citrus berry. This is gonna be very interesting. This is gonna be very, very interesting. I still think we pick up the KO though. This is a max Mindstorm in Psychic Terrain. This has gotta pick up the KO. Yeah, okay. He didn't predict me to, Saga. My opponent predicted me to attack instead of Trick Room again. So it worked out in our favor. It was a prediction, you know? All right. And here comes the Excadrill, the last Pokemon. And this is a very good position for us. We have how many turns of Trick Room left? 2 turns of Trick Room left. And the Gyarados can't stop us now, so we just click Eruption. And I just click Max Flare into probably the Excadrill slot. And that should do it, man. He's gonna try to double protect here. Nope, doesn't even bother. So Torkoal's gonna pick up the double KO and win the game for us. So GG's to my opponent there. Very, very nice. So that was a really fun game there, actually, where my opponent brought Trick Room Whimsicott, which is a strategy that I had thought of a few weeks back, actually. And I'm surprised to see it here on the ladder. It's very, very good. Because obviously Trick Room can set, or Whimsicott can set Tailwind for the team, but it can also be a reverse Trick Room setter to kind of reverse the opponent's strategy. So we got a Carbos. Oh my god. Let's grab one more. And we've got a very similar team. That Chandelure could be Flash Fire, so we have to be very mindful of that. And the ooh, what do I want to do against Chandelure? I think I'm gonna bring Mimikyu, and I think we're just gonna go Trick Room and just go hyper offensive and bring Mimikyu in the back, and then probably bring, do I want Torkoal this game though? I don't want to give that Chandelure Flash Fire. So we're gonna bring these two. We're definitely bringing Mimikyu, because Mimikyu looks really good. I kind of like Conkeldurr. I don't know if I like Vileplume without the support. Torkoal looks really good if my opponent does not bring Chandelure. So I kind of like Conk, especially because there's some potential Focus Sashes. and the Excadrill is probably the biggest threat otherwise. So I'm gonna bring Conkeldurr here. And we're gonna leave Vileplume Torkoal off, which I don't generally bring. I very rarely do not bring Torkoal, but this situation is I'm gonna be trying to get my Trick Room up and hit some really hard attacks here. That's gonna be our objective, so we'll see how this goes. I don't see how my opponent stops us from Trick Rooming unless they have the same Trick Room Whimsicott. So it's Whimsicott Arcanine. This could be beat up. This could be Intimidate. Let's see if we see Intimidate or if we see Justified. Will we see Intimidate here? We see my Psychic Surge. So that tells me that this is not Intimidate Arcanine unless it's 0 speed, but I think it would be faster than NDD. Okay, so this is Justified. So my prediction here is my opponent is going to try to beat up on the Arcanine. So I'm going to Trick Room. Now my opponent may have a way to counter this, but my guess is that unless that Whimsicott is carrying Trick Room, it's likely just going to beat up the Arcanine. The Arcanine is going to Dynamax here. The Whimsicott is going to go for beat up into Arcanine, but it's going to get redirected to my Indeedee, and it's not going to do anything. So we're going to find out right now what my opponent's strategy is. Now, obviously, if my opponent reverses my Trick Room here and just max flares into my Indeedee, well, that might be a little bit problematic, but let's find out. It really just depends on what their Whimsicott set is. So here comes the Follow Me, which is going to redirect their beat up if they have it. And my opponent is going to go for beat up into my Indeedee. So thank you for your generosity. Thank you for not powering up your own Arcanine, but instead helping me out. Super kind of you. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. So that works out relatively well for us. And here comes the Max Quake, which is going to hit the Indeedee, but I think we actually live this, and we do. And that allows me to, well, first of all, it sets up the Sandstorm, and it's going to boost the special defense of Whimsicott and of Arcanine. Oh, it doesn't actually set up the Sand. That's Rock moves, just kidding. Okay, well, I get my Trick Room up either way, so that's what we wanted. So now I'm going to continue to Follow Me, because I don't want him to get the boost, and I'm going to Dynamax and Max Mindstorm into, I think, the Arcanine. The Whimsicott is probably the issue here. So I think I want to go off into the Arcanine, because I'm assuming that Arcanine is going to want to attack. So let's do that. Let's go into the Arcanine here. The Whimsicott I'm not super worried about at this moment. Let's see. This is a very important turn right here. So it'll be interesting to see how my opponent handles this. I'm in a pretty commanding spot, but without Torkoal in the back, like, I don't have the really powerful spread damage that I want. So this is going to be interesting here. I don't think we're going to pick up the KO because the Arcanine got that boost. So we'll find out, though. Not necessarily Helen, no. Okay, so he does not go for Protect or Max Guard. So perhaps Helping Hand was the better play. But we're going to get big damage off here on this Arcanine either way. It's a 2-shot. And my opponent is going to likely go for the Max Quake, yep, into the Indeedee. And it doesn't pick up the KO, which is really good, which means that the Whimsicott cannot beat up the Arcanine. These special defense boosts are really, really bad, though. They're kind of putting me in a weird spot. So he's going to beat up and knock out my Indeedee. So I'm going to be able to get something else on the field right now, and it's probably going to be Mimikyu. But I'm not really sure. I kind of want to keep Mimikyu in the back, but Conk is going to take a big hit otherwise. So I'm not really sure how I want to handle this. I think I want Mimikyu in the back. Or I want to Swords Dance Mimikyu here, but I don't know how good of an idea that is. I'm worried the Arcanine is going to max guard here, which is why I'm like really thinking about this turn. I think I'm going to go Conk. I'm going to go Conkeldurr. And Ice Punch the Whimsicott. Or maybe double into the Arcanine. This is where the tricks come in, because if I double into Arcanine and it max guards, then I'm in a really bad spot, you know? So I can double into Whimsicott here, and, you know, I think I want to double Whimsicott and predict my opponent to max guard the Arcanine. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Ice Punch and Max Mindstorm the Whimsicott. Kind of a risky play here, but I'm going to predict my opponent to max guard their Arcanine. He does not do that, so I make the wrong play. Maybe. I mean, I'm going to get the KO on the Whimsicott at least. But my opponent is going to have an Arcanine still Dynamax, so that's a thing. But at least I get rid of the Whimsicott here. And the Arcanine is going to be able to go for a Max Quake and do some big damage to me. So let's see. Here comes, oh, it's actually the Max Flare into the Conk. I think we live this though. Yep, we take it pretty well. I really thought he was going to max guard. So maybe he doesn't even have it. Maybe he's Assault Vest. He might be Assault Vest. Let's see what my opponent has in the back. I could have also Hammer Armed the Arcanine there and let the Whimsicott just live on one, but that probably was the better play. I think I prioritized taking out the Whimsicott there too much, but it is Gyarados. Okay, Gyarados is a bit problematic. He's gonna get Intimidate off on me, which is mildly frustrating. But and the Arcanine actually loses its Dynamax here. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna Max Mindstorm. I'm gonna Hammer Arm the Arcanine and Max Mindstorm into the Gyarados. Yeah, I think I probably should have gotten rid of the... Well, if I had gotten rid of the Arcanine on the last turn, I would have taken a Moonblast on the Conk too. So let's see what my opponent does. My opponent's gonna protect the Arcanine. All right, well, let's see if I can get this KO here on the Gyarados. I think it does. It's boosted in terrain. Ooh, he lives. So doubling the Gyarados was the proper play there. Hammer Arm's not gonna hit anything here. And my opponent is gonna go for a bounce. Most likely, I would assume, aimed at the Conkeldurr. Is it Power Herb? No Power Herb? Okay. And we have one turn left of Trick Room, and the Arcanine just protected. So I'm going to actually protect my Conk here, and I'm going to Psychic into the Arcanine, I think. Or I can actually get rid of the Gyarados here with Dazzling Gleam and hit both. I still have Trick Room, right? It's my last turn, Trick Room. Okay, so what am I doing here? I am going to protect Conkeldurr, and I am going to Psychic the Arcanine slot. Or do I want to just double Arcanine? Let's just double Arcanine, actually. Let's just double Arcanine. Yeah, let's double Arcanine. I'm going to Hammer Arm the Arcanine, and I am going to Psychic the Arcanine. I'm going to double it. He goes for the double protect, does not get it. Psychic comes off here. Picks up the KO. So protect was the better play on Conkeldurr. So lesson learned on that one. Protect was the right play, and I didn't go for it. And bounce is going to come off here and probably kill Conkeldurr. Yes. Okay. So the right play there was to protect. But hindsight's 20/20, right? And we lose our Trick Room now. And I lose Psychic Terrain. But I have Mimikyu. Let's see what my opponent's last two are. And here comes what? The Excadrill, actually. So, not very good for us. Probably one of the worst things I could have seen is Excadrill. Because Excadrill can go for Mold Breaker attacks. That is what? The last turns, yes. So, alright, so I have to make a prediction here. I think my play is to... I don't want to protect on Hatterene, so I have to Shadow Sneak the Gyarados, I think. Get rid of that. And then I have to Trick Room and hope for the best. Or Mystical Fire, but I think we Trick Room. Because he's going to Iron Head my Hatterene. I can't protect Hatterene. There's nothing I can do about that, but there's a chance that my opponent actually doesn't... my opponent may double attack my Mimikyu, so I'm going to Trick Room here. Shadow Sneak comes off, should pick up the KO on the Gyarados. And it does. So while it's 2v1 here, depends on what the Excadrill does. He might Earthquake too. He's going to Iron Head into the Hatterene. This should knock us out. It does. Okay, so now it's Mimikyu versus Excadrill. And I don't think there's any way around this for me. Although it is Life Orb. So basically what I do here is I think I Shadow Sneak it and hope that 2 Shadow Sneaks is enough. I don't think it's going to be, but we're going to find out right now. because he's going to take a couple turns of Life Orb here. So let's see how much this does. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. And we're going to be just shy, I think. Here comes the Iron Head. Oh, it's got Mold Breaker anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I didn't see if he had Mold Breaker or not. So that game was very winnable. I think the big play there that really mattered was, had I protected with my Conkeldurr on that bounce, we would have actually probably won the game. I think I overestimated the amount of bulk on the Arcanine. So a lot of times when you pick up a win or pick up a loss, a lot of times you can usually reflect back to 1 or 2 turns that you could have maybe manipulated a little bit differently. And I think for us in that situation, we'll take a loss, but it was a good loss to learn from. It really just came down to, again, kind of thinking about what I could have done better there against that Gyarados. Like, I knew the bounce was aiming at Conkeldurr. That wasn't really an issue. It was more so that had I kind of just went for the protect there and just went for the attack on the Arcanine, that would have been good. And earlier in the game, too, I kind of had an issue where I decided that I was going to focus down the Whimsicott as opposed to trying to eliminate the Arcanine, which also may have kind of cost us the match. But I'm pretty happy with those 3 games there. We had some pretty cool stuff that took place. So overall, we'll take 2 and 1 in this video, and we'll continue on the next one. I'm going to change up the team a little bit, so hopefully we'll have a kind of a newer Trick Room team to work with. But thank you guys so much for watching this on YouTube afterwards. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of our Road to Masterball Tier. Peace. Butterfree, go!